freedom, the voice of the people. This is our Constitution, and this is what President Washington and President Lincoln had to say about it. Only an atheist man can fail to trace the finger of God through this document. We are not claiming direct revelation for this work, but it is as close as we can humanly get. The people of these United States are the rightful masters of both Congresses and courts, not to overthrow the Constitution, but to overthrow the men who pervert that Constitution. Welcome to the show. That's right. Yeah, and I'm Mark Dildine, and this is
Chris Murphy.
There you go. You say that so well.
Thank you.
Yeah, You're welcome.
I've had 56 years to practice that. So.
Really?
My last birthday cake, I couldn't blow out the candles. The heat drove me back.
Well,
56.
we won't say where I'm at, but yeah. I basically what's weird is that I could have babysat you.
Well, my last birthday cake looked like a prairie fire.
Oh, could you?
Ooh, yeah.
Way back.
Oh my goodness, great. Well, sometimes I felt like I have already.
I think so. You probably have more than once.
More, yeah, I would say that. More than once. Anyway, hey, we've got a really good show for you today.
We do.
We're going to be talking about the Constitution. I'm sure you've already seen what the setup about the Constitution. You know that thing about Abraham Lincoln?
What thing?
Well, you know, when he was talking about, the Congress and all that, and the rights of the people, whatnot, Well, if he would have said that, what he said in that, and you see that in the clip in the beginning, if he would have said that today,
oh my goodness,
they would have knocked down the door on his log cabin.
I would have,
boy, they would have come after him.
Right.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Well, I mean, to be fair, he ended up getting shot.
That's true.
For stuff that he said and did. So, so I don't know that he would have made it to Ford's Theater, though, had he been alive today.
That's true. That's true.
These things.
That's because the world today is so different.
Oh, my goodness.
And the level of respect of the government is not really there anymore.
I have a hot take that I want to share.
Oh, okay.
Right off the top of that.
Yeah, go ahead.
And if you don't know what a hot take is something that's potentially controversial, an opinion that's potentially
I like that,
controversial.
Potentially.
So when you're talking about the Constitution, you're going to get into some controversial stuff. But here's my hot take.
Okay, hot take.
I really believe, if you understand history and the founding of this country, if our founding fathers could come forward in time 240 years and see what America has done with the freedoms that they definitely sacrificed everything to give the future generations, and then we're able to go back in time to 1776 to continue on with the process. I am in the belief that had they seen what has happened, they would go back to 1776, write a letter to King George and say, hey, we're good. Tax us all you want. We'll send you all the taxes. We're good.
Well, they've got a point. You want to hear a weird comparison?
Yeah, let me hear it.
All the guys that were in Congress that signed the Declaration, they went through. Some were hung.
Yes.
They lost their fortune,
lost their property, lost
everything.
Yep.
I mean, these guys really just
they sacrificed.
They sacrificed greatly. In comparison, Jesus had 12 that followed him.
Yes, he did.
And they also sacrificed everything.
They did.
For righteousness. And our
with the exception of one.
Except for one. The thing is that our forefathers sacrificed everything.
Yeah.
And for a righteous way of living.
Well, and that is to me, the big difference between what the founding fathers were in the political realm versus what we have today in the political realm, because they were what we call statesmen.
Yes, they were.
They were not looking to be permanent politicians, professional politicians by any stretch. This was a temporary gig for them.
Totally temporary.
They did everything they did to found the country, and then they went back to farming or law firm or whatever it was they were doing afterwards. But today, we have professional politicians who get in office and stay in office. Until they drag their dead carcass out of the hallowed halls of Congress.
Well, you know, what's something about that is that those have been voted into Congress.
Yes.
They know how to sell themselves. Yeah. They know what to say when they need to say it. Mm-hmm. But do they follow through?
9 out of 10 times. No, I'm wrong. 10 out of 10 times. No.
That's right.
They don't. That's why what's currently happening with the president, our current president, which if you're watching this in 2023 or 2033, whatever, it's Trump. Trump is our current president. And so he's actually doing the things that he promised he would do, and it's blowing people's minds.
I know, people can.
They've never seen this before.
Now, let's get to about the amendments. Okay, so we're going to cover that.
Okay.
Now, because, we have a guy in office right now that said what he was going to do and does what he said.
Yes.
Right? And he's done a lot of really positive.
Yes.
Agreed. But yet, while he's doing all the positive, there's a lot of negative saying that he's a dictator and that,
fascist. Don't forget fascist.
Fascist. Yeah, I love that word. So fascist. Yeah. So, the thing is that, they tried their best to not have him run. Mm-hmm. That when he did run, they tried their best to destroy his name, his fortune. Incarcerating him and tried to kill him. Yeah. I mean, everything that they could possibly, and they couldn't stop him. Now, why? Well, the Democrats, which, by the way, it doesn't even look like the Democrat Party when I was growing up. I mean, it's totally different. They're more socialist, communist leaning across the board. Yeah. Because they think that's they think that's where the people are. In reality, it's not, because Trump won on a landslide.
He did.
And all their policies, which are not biblically approved. I'll say that clearly.
Yeah.
A lot of their policies is so against the Word of God.
Yeah. For example, we can start with abortion.
Oh, abortion. Then let's talk about the homosexuality, the transgender, and we move on, and the rebellion with the ICE situation.
Oh yeah, all the peaceful.
What you're seeing behind me is one of multiple locations that have been burning in Kenosha, Wisconsin, over the course of the night.
The peaceful. This is what. Oh, by the way, this book right here, guys, is the Constitution of the United States. Yes. It's not that thick, believe it or not, but it has everything in here. Now, just to give you a little update, the first part of this document is talking about the structure of government.
Correct.
But then we get into the Bill of Rights. And, no one really has read this a lot. They stopped teaching civics in our schools.
Yes, they did.
They stopped teaching about how our government works in schools.
Yes, they did.
There's a small minority of schools out there in states that still do that, but not enough.
And homeschooling does.
Homeschooling really does. In fact,
does.
Definitely. Well, Debbie Fox is going to be talking a little bit about that in the show.
Good.
And let me tell you what. When it comes down to the First Amendment, let's read this really clear, all right?
Do.
May I read it for you?
I wish you would.
Yes. Well, you have the glasses. Yeah.
Well,
never mind. Okay.
They won't help you.
Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof.
Yes.
Okay. They don't want to be church and state. They want to be not together.
Correct.
But they're not going to restrict it. Okay. Now, or abridging the freedom of speech or the press or the right of the people to, what's that word say right there?
Peaceably.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Peaceably to assemble.
To assemble, yes.
Donald Trump, I think you need to go back and punch him in the face.
And to petition the government for a redress of grievances?
Redress of grievances, yes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What haven't we seen? Peaceful protest?
Peaceful protest. Now, we've been told,
yes,
if you're paying any attention to the media, the news media, we have been told that the protests in 2020, all the way through till now even, have been mostly peaceful protests, while the city burns behind the reporter that's talking about.
What you're seeing behind me is one of multiple locations that have been burning in Kenosha, Wisconsin over the course of the night.
Well, you know, Washington, D.C.
Yes, right now, currently.
Currently, is now peaceful again because the president, which has full rights, Congress has full rights, to do what they did when it comes down to the National Guard and all that.
In the District of Columbia.
It's a district. It is not a state.
Correct.
It is under the control of the Congress.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
So, we all remember when Washington, D.C. was burning down.
Yes,
remember that?
I'm old enough to remember that.
BLM.
Yes, I remember
that. They were just, and that was when in the first term of
first
Trump.
term, first term.
They were burning it down.
Yeah, and looting, destroying property. Yeah,
yeah, it was horrible.
And then it went from there to other states, other cities.
Other states like Portland. I mean, that was horrible.
Well, yeah, and Seattle. My favorite was Seattle because
Seattle. Seattle.
When they cordoned off a section of the city to become their little commune.
Yeah, that was amazing.
They were going to show everybody how this should really work, right?
Oh, yeah.
With this socialist
really did
mentality.
Work. Yeah.
And my favorite part of that was when the guys were throwing down sheets of cardboard and pouring topsoil on the cardboard so they can grow crops. I love that part.
That was creative.
Yeah, they definitely knew what they were doing.
Creative.
Because it lasted all of about, 2 months, 3 months, something like that.
Something like that. Well, the thing is, if you noticed, we didn't hear a huge outcry about all this from the Democrats.
No.
Now, we're not wanting to, just slam a certain party. Republicans have their problems too.
Yes, they do.
But the Democrats seemed like they were promoting it.
Well, a lot of excuse me, a lot of them were.
Yeah, I
know. We
We
have a lot of video that we can pull from.
Oh yeah. That
shows that support.
What was that? That one black congresswoman was screaming. Well, to attack them where they're attack the Trump people. Maxine Waters. That's right.
You see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd and you push back on them.
We need to stand up. We need to attack them.
Well, to be clear,
she
did not say the word attack, but what she did say was, I want you to get out, I want you to surround them, form a group around them, and let them know how you feel about it.
Well, to me,
but there was no call for peaceful protesting.
No, there was not. Well, yeah, there wasn't. In fact, nowadays, have you seen what they've been doing?
Tell me.
They've been talking about we have to get tough.
No, we have
to fight.
Because they haven't been fighting.
We have to fight in the streets.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
There needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
You got to be ready to throw a punch. You have to be ready to throw a punch.
Donald Trump, I think you need to go back and punch him in the face.
That I thought he should have punched him in the face.
I feel like punching him.
I'd like to take him behind the gym if I were in high school.
If we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the out of him.
No, I wish we were in high school. I could take him behind the gym.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
Take him out now.
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
Please, get up in the face of some Congress people.
People will do what they do.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
We're going to go in there, we're going to...
Well, this is just a warning to you Trumpers. Be careful. Walk lightly. And for those of you who are soldiers, make them pay.
If you had to be stuck in an elevator with either President Trump, Mike Pence, or Jeff Sessions, who would it be?
Does one of us have to come out alive?
That's the bigger thing right now.
Well, that's really their only game is to get out into the streets and protest. And
well, you know what's funny is that my parents were Democrats. Okay, Kennedy. They were big on Kennedy.
Well, and, you came from Chicago area.
Chicago, so, you know it. I'm from Chicago.
Seriously, a very Republican area. Right?
Yeah, right.
So
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
So Republican.
Yeah.
But the thing is that they're now talking about the right or conservatives as being fascist.
Well, sure. Yeah, we're dictatorial.
We're horrible.
We're definitely fascist because we're going around, in mobs and just grabbing people and throwing them into trucks.
Oh yeah, I know. Just a horrible situation.
What are they calling it? They're invisible. No, I forget the word they're using.
Gestapo is another word.
Well, they're calling this Gestapo tactics and things of that nature. And people are very upset about it. And we do have the right, I'm going to be clear on this.
Yes, we do have a right.
To peacefully protest when the government is stepping over their boundaries, stepping past the lines that are clearly dictated in the Constitution. And the government does step across the line.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Either party.
That's right.
We're not pro one party and anti another party. We're pro Constitution.
Totally.
All right?
Totally.
And so when the government steps across the line, yes, we have the right as citizens of this country to protest peacefully.
I like that, citizens.
Peacefully protest.
Well, what do you think about the word sedition?
Oh, that's a big word.
Yeah, it is.
What does it mean?
Well, basically what it means is that when you're aggressively going against the government, breaking the laws, creating treason, along those lines.
Committing treasonous acts, yes.
Okay, treasonous act. Now, when it comes down to the illegal aliens, some say
undocumented.
Undocumented. Oh, I love that word. And the thing is that presidents before Trump, one of which, Obama, he tossed out millions.
Oh, yeah. Well, he was
millions.
He was called the deporter in chief.
Then why did you deport 2 million people?
Jorge, we're not going to.
For 6 years you did it. You destroyed many families.
Jorge,
they called you deporter in chief.
You called me deporter in chief.
That's right. He was. And even going back to Clinton, when he was talking about we have to be stronger on the border, we got to stop these people.
That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before.
And all these, but
not
you know
just
what?
Bill, Hillary too.
Hillary too.
We got video showing her saying.
Look, I voted numerous times when I was a senator to spend money to build a barrier to try to prevent illegal immigrants from coming in.
Thing is that they're Democrats.
Correct, but back in the day.
Now
they understood that
because this guy Trump, nobody likes or whatever. They're not nobody, but they don't like.
Right.
All of a sudden, he's a horrible person.
Well, anything he's for, they're automatically against.
Oh yeah,
doesn't matter what it is.
The problem with that is that they're breaking a law. These cities like Chicago, my hometown, which are protecting these undocumented
sanctuary cities.
Sanctuary cities. Really, if you look at it, they're doing sedition.
Well, they're defying the clearly written laws about borders.
That's right.
Immigration. They're defying the immigration law. And the previous president, Joe Biden, was pushing Congress to pass more bills, more laws to shore up the sieve that was our borders during his presidential run. But as we have already seen, all they needed to do was enforce the existing laws that were already on the books. They didn't need to pass new laws. No. And we're seeing that now with the current president.
You know that there have been some people that say that the Democrat Party, Biden and all them, did this to bring in more citizens to influence the vote.
Of course. Well, we have to understand that professional politicians, regardless of party, their number one goal in life is to acquire and keep power for as long as humanly possible.
That's right.
And that means by any means necessary, including going against and defying the written instructions that we have here in the Constitution. And you're right when you say the first part of the Constitution, before the amendments, are basically breaking down how our government is supposed to function.
That's right.
And I'll be honest, if you were to read it, it's dry.
Oh, it is
It's
dry.
boring.
It is boring.
A lot of legalese.
Oh my God,
and
yes.
it's easy to understand why most people don't know what's in this document.
Right. Yeah.
But it clearly points
Well, you fall
out,
asleep on the second page.
just by the time you get to the amendments, you're in a coma.
Going, oh my God. Yeah, that's true.
And even the amendments themselves, there's 27 amendments to the United States Constitution.
27.
If we were to sit here right now in this show and go over every one of them, this would be an 18-hour-long podcast.
I know it.
Which we won't do, we
But,
promise. But there are a few.
The Second Amendment.
The second one, which is the second.
Okay, which is a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state.
Yes.
The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Well, clearly he's talking about short-sleeve shirts here.
Yes, obviously.
Obviously.
Well, the thing is, I understand the fact that, you shouldn't have a submachine gun. But back in the 20s when my grandfather was working in the trade, as we say.
Transportation.
He was into liquid transportation. But the thing is that back in those days, they had a lot of machine guns, and look what it did.
Tommy guns is what they call them.
Tommy guns, yes.
Guns, yeah.
So, but I agree with not having military grade.
Well, yeah, you don't want to have an armed militia with military-grade weapons because obviously you'll see some damage being done to
major damage. But
to completely cut citizens off from guns and just say, you're only people allowed to have guns are the people that the people in power, approve to have guns.
Every time that was done, from Stalin, Mao, and all the rest of the communist socialist company, they took out the guns, and they had nothing but problems. Australia, has banned guns.
Gun-free zone.
And it is one of the worst areas for crime.
They have a lot of crime, and there's also stories of people that are in gun-free areas that are being stabbed to death. Or beaten and clubbed to
with
death.
machetes. Oh, they have a new thing about machetes.
Yeah, machetes. They have an
anti-machete law.
Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Well, don't have a gun, have a machete.
They can't have those either now. So because what they try to do is legislate the human heart, the human nature.
And you can't do that.
And it's impossible. Even God tried to legislate it with the Ten Commandments, and we see how well that's worked out.
Oh, that's true.
And so passing all these anti-gun laws is contrary to the Second Amendment of the Constitution of the United States.
That's right. Oh, but let's talk about the third just briefly.
The third.
I know this one really is close to your heart.
This is my favorite.
I know that this is something that just brings a tear to your eye.
It does.
Go ahead.
And I hate that
this one.
This is not talked about near enough in our national conversation.
That's right.
The Third Amendment.
The third.
What's it say? What's the Third Amendment say?
The Third Amendment, no soldier shall in time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law.
Okay, soldiers being quartered in our homes. We're not talking about this particular amendment enough.
I know.
And I think that, if a United States Marine or any veteran is needing a place to stay, I'm just saying this right there. We should not have any homeless veterans.
Because of this.
That's right.
I agree.
That's one way to interpret it.
I know it was very, very close to your heart.
Very, very. I'm seriously, I'm a huge supporter of our veterans and our military. And I tell you, if a division of Marines comes to my house, they're welcome to stay.
That's right.
Now it'll be a little tight, be a little crowded. But.
Now, what about the 14th Amendment? And then we're going to cut out and do an interview.
Oh, okay.
The 14th Amendment. What's your thoughts?
All right. Tell me what the 14th Amendment says. Let's read it for the people.
You would ask that. They got Roman numbers here, so you read it off your phone. And I'm no good with Roman numbers. Okay,
we're not Roman. We're not Italian.
Okay, Amendments XV111. Go
I
ahead.
want to make sure I read this correctly.
You read it correctly.
This is also another one.
Okay.
That is kind of controversial.
I would love to read it, but go ahead.
Well, the amendment is about citizenship rights, right?
Okay, there you go.
Equal protection and appointment. Also has something in there about Civil War debt, but we won't cover that. But specifically, we're talking about Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. I'm just going to read a portion of this here. It says that no person shall be a senator or a representative in Congress or elector or president or vice president and be able to engage in insurrection or rebellion. Right? And if they have engaged, and this includes giving aid or comfort to insurrectionists or seditionists, then Congress, by a vote of 2/3 of each house, can remove said president or elected official. So if they're engaged in sedition, as you said, or insurrection, we have the right. The Congress has the right to remove them. But the question remains: what is sedition? What is insurrection?
They wrote that because it's a civil war.
Correct.
Okay.
It's a civil war.
But at the same time, it's a good question. What is sedition? What is that? Well, we know that there's so many politicians. Well, Texas, which we're in, they walked out of the Congress
recently.
Recently, so they didn't have to do a vote.
Yeah. One political party. One political party.
That's right.
If you're not watching the news, there was a vote on the floor in the House in Texas State to vote on redistricting. Which is a big topic nowadays.
Oh yeah.
And the party that was in the minority decided they weren't going to play this game, and so they all got up en masse and not just left the House, they left the state. Like they fled.
Right. They fled.
They abdicated their position as representatives in the state of Texas and left the state to protest and say, we're not voting on this deal. So in essence, they just basically said, we're not doing our job anymore.
That's right.
We're quitting, and we're going to, in so doing, we're going to throw a big roadblock in the whole process.
Yep.
That is our government. So is that sedition?
That is sedition, and they rebelled. So
right? A form of rebellion. Right. You're not going to play by the rules, clearly dictated rules, whether you're talking federal, whether you're talking state, or even local. There are rules that our government
when
has.
it comes down to redistricting the vote and all that.
Well, that's a whole other podcast.
That's a whole nother. Well, we could get buried in that one.
A lot of weeds.
That's right. Well, you know what? Let's go. And I did an interview in Tomball, Texas, with Debbie Fox, and which, by the way, she holds classes there to teach the Constitution.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And when I was there was a lot of people that showed up to this.
Fantastic.
And her and her husband, John Fox, they teach this.
Fantastic.
And I thought it would be really cool to go down there and let her talk.
I love it.
So we're going to go to that interview right now.
All right.
My first question, for you is, what is biblical citizenship?
Well, Biblical Citizenship is a program created by Rick Green of Patriot Academy. He really had a passion to bring back the Bible into the world today, which seems to be so far apart from government and everything else. And so how do we become a biblical citizen? It's basically about being a steward, that God gave this planet and this constitutional republic to be a steward of it. Biblical citizenship is a 8-week course. That's what it's designed for. But John and I have actually done it in a weekend, and the people that are coming out are so amazed with the material that's in it, because it's basically showing a step-by-step process that the founders went through and what they were passionate about. They were passionate about ending slavery, many of them. There were so many things that they were passionate about. But most of all, they were passionate about to stop the tyranny, that there was never going to be another king who could tell them, you have to worship this way, and this is the only way you can worship. There seems to be a real attack on Christianity today, because Christianity is what leads all of us, what led our founders to even develop for writing the Constitution. Well, some of the things that we have been doing is holding classes around town, and we have been reading the Constitution, and we have been teaching people about their rights. I mean, even if you look at right now, that basically nobody can put an opinion out there that doesn't agree with the far left and their ideology that they have created. I mean, there's so many things that make no sense. We're not going to save people over here that are coming in from Mexico and pouring across our border, but yet we're going to kill babies. This makes absolutely no sense. And I think people are fed up with that. Thank you, Mark, so much for having me on. And I just pray that our country gets back to its biblical roots, which have always been there. They just kind of got buried over. Thank you.
right. So we are welcoming here to the podcast, Brother Jay Gauthier. How to say it?
That's good.
Okay. And yes,
it works.
He is one of the ministry partners with Faith Points TV. And tell us the name of your podcast, your ministry, please, sir.
It's the Audacious Faith Podcast.
Awesome.
And basically, it's for those who have the audacity to believe that God put us on this earth, not just to exist, to make a huge difference in the world.
All right. And where are you located geographically? Where are you at?
Southern California, about 12 miles east of downtown Los Angeles.
Fantastic. So you're...
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're right in the hotbed of things.
The belly of the beast.
Yeah, you could say
you're
that.
in Texas. Yeah. Well, we're in Houston.
Okay.
Houston, Texas.
So,
and really, Chris isn't in Houston.
Yeah,
He's kind of like in a suburb. I'm city proper. Chris has gotten lost somewhere.
Yeah.
Where are you at anyway?
Me, I'm northwest of Houston. I'm the last bastion before you leave Harris County. So.
Oh, okay. Well, you're on the outskirts of
yeah.
What can you do?
I'm on the fringe. Yeah.
Well, tell us, Jay. Tell us a little bit about your ministry. I know that you're a pastor as well, and talk to us. Tell us about your life and your ministry.
Well, basically my life, I didn't grow up in church. And so the fact that I would end up being a pastor and end up doing a faith podcast, that was kind of laughable because I really had no connection with church whatsoever. But at the age of 17, God changed that, really grabbed hold of my life. And it wasn't long after that, at 19, that he launched me into some youth ministry at that point. And so I've been in ministry now for 39 years. I've been the pastor at First Baptist in El Monte, California, since, well, I went there as a youth music associate, do everything the pastor didn't want to do,
right.
91.
Janitor, yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly, all of it, all the errands, you name it. And then in 95, he retired, and I was interim for a little bit and then took that on. Kind of an older church. The history of the church here actually is it was the first Protestant church in Southern California, all the way back to 1853.
Wow.
It's been in this location where I am since 1932. And, it's been an amazing time. But as far as Audacious Faith Ministries is concerned, in COVID times, things got crazy. We shut down a little bit, just went online only for a couple of months.
Yeah.
And then people were coming back slowly, and it actually wasn't the older people that were at risk. They were in the door as soon as we opened it. Mm-hmm. But it was more of the fringe, not quite as committed people. And I remember kind of just like praying one night before bed, saying, "God, I don't understand how much you want me to reach people, and they're not coming back. What do you want me to do?" Mm-hmm. And it just really felt strongly God saying, if they're not going to come to you, go to them.
There you
and
go.
you do that online.
Yep.
And that's kind of how, and I went to do the podcast. I remember telling my son, my oldest son, who had a successful podcast already through business. Okay. And I said, all right, I'm going to do this, but I'm really going out on a limb here. And he's like, "What do you mean?" I go, "I'm going to do this thing and nobody's going to listen to it. Nobody's going to watch it." And he said something to me, which really stuck out. He said, "You know what? Nobody watches anybody's podcast when you first started. Just do it."
That's right.
And what's happened over the course of about 160 episodes now is some of them are solo, but a lot of them are interviews, just to see how God works through the story of people's lives over and over again, doesn't waste a thing. The good times, the hard times, the challenging times, he puts it all together like pieces of a puzzle and creates the big picture. And it's just amazing. It's been more revealing, I guess, and rewarding than I ever would have imagined.
That's fantastic. And your son's absolutely right. Just do it. I mean, you can't, if you go in looking at numbers only, you'll get discouraged immediately because
absolutely
there's not a lot, there's tons of podcasts out there, but if God's in it, right? If God's in it, he fed 5,000 with a boy sack lunch. He can definitely make a podcast grow.
Yeah, and I've gotten to meet, a ton of great people and make more connections, including this one right here, because Faith Points TV, the connection with Faith Points came from one of your people seeing the podcast on Facebook and then reaching out. So
that's fantastic. Well, we're very happy to have you guys on board for sure. And I don't know, Mark just dropped. So hopefully he'll come back up here. But so being in California, and you said the church was formed in 39? Is that what you said? Or 32?
1932 as far as its current location. 1853 is its total roots.
Wow. All right. So you're coming up on centennial here before too long.
Yeah, it was out here. El Monte is the end of the Santa Fe Trail. People would come out to the Wild West for gold. It was literally the original pastor and sons literally had guns in the pulpit to protect themselves.
Right.
It was, some people say it's still like that, and it's nowhere near that bad now. But it's great.
That's fantastic. Well, that's, man, what a rich history. That's fantastic. I'm thankful to hear. And you said it was a Baptist church as well?
Yes.
Okay. So the first Protestant church in that area.
Yes.
That's fantastic. And there's Brother Mark. He has returned. All right.
Yes, my computer closed down on me. It was like, hello? Okay.
Well,
but look behind me now. I have a microphone.
Okay.
It's very cool. Okay.
Perfect. I'll blur that out.
Right? I'll blurb it out.
Blurb it out in post-production. But yeah, we're talking to Brother Jay Gauthier. I hope I'm not butchering that last name. Correct me, please. All right.
Okay.
With Audacious Faith Podcast. So tell us some of the subjects you talk about on the podcast. What's some of the good stuff that you get into?
Yeah.
Everything. I mean, we just did one that's about to come out in a couple days on living and leaving a narcissist, which was interesting. I'd never tackled that one before. We've talked about money. We've talked about depression. We've talked about anxiety. We've talked about, excellence in leadership, steps of faith. We cover it all.
That's fantastic. So you're hitting the hard-hitting, stuff that's relevant today. I love that.
Absolutely.
I'm going to check out the narcissism one, having experienced some of that. So,
you're not talking about me, are you?
No, not at all.
Okay. As long as you're not talking about me, that's all.
No, just about ministry in general. All of us here are ministers and have pastored churches. So, you get to run into every kind of personality type in existence. And so, that's fantastic. So on the money subject, because that was our inaugural for our podcast. We jumped into the prosperity gospel feet first. And is that kind of what you were talking about as far as money, or is it more money management kind of thing?
It's kind of all of it. And what's been, we take twists and turns in our lives. And one of the things that happened to me back in about 2010 was that ministry and finances and everything just totally fell apart. We lost our home. The church was struggling. Everything was happening. Right. And God used that and threw me and my family into, because he has this huge sense of humor. Our family business is financial.
Oh, wow.
That's what he does. He takes the people, and I think you become the most qualified to help the person you used to be. And so literally he took that mess and launched it into a business that now has, post-COVID, about 280 licensed agents across the country.
Wow.
And so the thing about it, though, you mentioned the prosperity.
Yeah.
Is because of that angle of it, I've seen all sides of this. And I've seen the people that, it's just, I got to make money. I got to make money. I got to make money. And I've seen how empty that actually ends up making a person. The happiness does not actually come from there.
No.
So it's given me, God's kind of given me the opportunity to see it from all sides.
That's great.
I would tell people in that area real briefly that I don't believe that God calls us to jobs. I believe he calls us to callings. Yes. So if you're doing something just for the purpose of making the money, then you're probably not where God wants you to be. You're doing something where, he provides, because he's the one who promises to provide, but it's also what he's created us to be, and that's where our true calling is.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more with everything you just said. That's exactly our take as well. I mean, if money, the Bible's very clear on the place of money, right? And how it's supposed, what priority it's supposed to take. And as usual, humanity tends to get things backwards from what
absolutely
wants. And so, and that's a tough one. That's a tough one to talk about. A lot of people get a little upset with you when you, basically quote Jesus, but he said it. You can't serve God and money, or mammon, as he put it. So,
right.
It's a tough subject. So it's good that you're definitely talking about stuff that we would call it a brave subject to attach, to go after. Sure. But that's fantastic. What else? What other podcast subjects? I mean, we're fans of podcasts anyway, but especially ones that has God at the center of it. So, what's some of your favorite so far?
Well, some of my favorite. Gosh, I went to Dallas to interview a guy in fitness who then came, who actually won his pro card, and then. He realized after he did that, wow, I'm still not happy. Something's still missing.
Right.
Then he decided I'll become big on social media. So he got a big, huge social media following of several 100,000 people.
Oh, wow.
Still was empty. And then what ended up happening was the foundation that he had from when he was taken by his family to church in the early years. All of a sudden, he realized God was what he was really missing.
Right.
And we noticed that his content on his Instagram started changing. He was talking so much more about faith.
Yeah.
So I actually flew into your neck of the woods there, into Texas,
right,
to meet with him for a day, and just so that was another one that kind of stands out. But there's just so many.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. That sounds interesting, though. And getting God, back in the proper priority, I think that's all of our struggles, honestly. And even as ministers. From a pastoral perspective, you're still pastoring now, correct?
Yes.
All right. And you said you've been doing it for 39 years?
39 years of total ministry. Yeah.
Total ministry. So that is impressive, because I myself experienced burnout back in the late aughts, or 2008, 2009, and stepped away from ministry for several years, and now I'm back in. But, everybody's ministry story is different, but one of the common threads is, if you're not following God as a minister, if you're chasing anything else but Him, ministry will chew you up and spit you out.
Oh, definitely. In fact, if you're not called to that specifically, that particular type of ministry, run the other way.
Exactly right. I tell people that all the time. But that's subjects that we talk about a lot. Is just not that ministry is the hardest job in the world, but to have the right focus and the right priority. And that being Christ, making sure He's number one on the list. But all right, well, we're putting this interview in a podcast where the subject is the Constitution of the United States of America, which I'm sure is a popular subject nowadays.
Absolutely.
So we basically we read a few of the amendments, the first and the second one, of course, being the most popular, and just kind of explained a little bit about what. For example, the First Amendment, the right to free speech, and that's something that's very. How do I put this in a nice way? A lot of people don't know what that amendment actually is about, right? And because a lot of people seem to have the idea that free speech means we just say whatever we want, anywhere we want, with no consequence, no repercussions or whatever. Right. And that's not what the First Amendment's about, right?
True.
And so, the truth of the First Amendment is the government will not come in and arrest you for speaking against the government or speaking about anything, really. But it's all about the authority not arresting you and throwing you in jail for your speech. And that's where the First Amendment ends, right? You can still lose a job, or you can still, there's consequences, in the public.
I think that came out recently, that there's consequences.
It did.
I mean, especially with the brother that was assassinated. I mean, a lot of people came against him and, made fun of his death. I mean, but they found out there's consequences to their actions, But, that's even about the Word of God. I mean, you sin, there's consequences. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Your actions create that, without a doubt. Mm-hmm. Jay, what's it like in your neck of the woods when it comes down to, your government, so that you're dealing with the state and also the Constitution from your point of view? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, in California, obviously, it's different. So, for I'll give you an example, I went a few years ago with my wife, right when COVID was hitting. We went and took a nice trip to South Dakota. Well, that was like a totally different world.
Culture shock.
And where we live over here. It was very comfortable over there, actually, for me, because of my particular, beliefs and worldview. But here in Southern California, especially, it can be where, you just kind of wonder, it's like, are we looking at the same planet? Are we looking at the same issues? Where truly it's, and I think what it really boils down to is where's your belief? What's your worldview? Have we been created by God? Is there a creator that's made us that we know and that we're responsible to? And if we view things through that word as being truth, then we see things a certain way. Yes. If we don't view that as being the truth, or we reject that, then we view things a completely different way. We can look at the same exact words, sentences, and events and have a completely opposite interpretation. And that's what I think we're seeing so clearly. It's not even necessarily Democrat, Republican, which is what everybody says. I think it's more just, do you believe in God and who he is?
Right.
Christ and all that, or do you not? And that seems to be a dividing line.
Well, the thing is that we know that the morals across the country are highly questionable nowadays. And it seems that there was for a while there, a great walking away from the gospel of Christ. I will not say walking away from the church, because there has been walking away from the church, but the church can mean anything. You know what I mean?
Right.
With their philosophy. We're talking about born again experience, Right. But we've seen a revival of recent, which was amazing. I don't know how deep of a change in people's lives that is made. But, since, Kirk, we've seen a lot of changes. But the thing is that the words that are written in the Constitution are wonderful words. They're strong, how should we say, they can get you down the road in the right direction. You know what I mean? But it's the moral of man that has subverted, a lot of that. I mean, the thing about the Constitution is written in such a way that there's a lot of freedom, and which is fine. I mean, that's the way it should be. But the devil's come in and put in and demented and twisted truth to such a degree that a lot of people out there can't see the truth of the Constitution. They can't see the moral fiber which is there for us. Right. And even though it's not a religious document, it's a strong moral code that we can live by. But people's interpretation of that, it's twisted because their eyes are not on Christ.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
I think what stands out to me on that, as far as, so for example, does the Bible give us free speech? And the answer is, of course it does.
Yes.
We are free to make any choice that we want, even for God or not for God.
Yes.
Right. We are free to say anything. And yet the Bible also tells us, let no corrupt communication come out of your mouth, but everything should be edification. So we get that choice, but we're still responsible for those choices that we make.
100%. The prodigal son comes to mind, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can, you're free to make whatever choices you want, but the consequences are yours. And,
Truth.
And unfortunately in our culture, the accountability is a bad word in much of our culture. And that's even within the church as well. So, again, human nature, I think, one of the things I find interesting as we're watching in New York, for example, this mayor race and how things are unfolding there with someone who's claiming to be a socialist looks like he's going to run away with the election. And, I hear all the time people talking about, socialism has to be, the future of the country and everything. And all we got to do is figure out how to make it work correctly, because all the other examples we have, they didn't do it right. They did it wrong. And one of the things they don't factor into the socialism form of government is human nature.
Yes.
Right? Specifically the people who are in charge of the socialist government, because in every single example, what you see is corruption from the top down. the people that are put in power. And it's a human nature problem, not a form of government problem. You know what I mean? And it's something that people struggle to grasp is, that humans are not inherently good, right?
Exactly.
Even the Bible says, there's none that does good, no, not one. I always tell people, if you doubt the inherent selfishness of human beings, you've never parented a child.
For sure. That's for sure.
Because there's a reason why 2-year-old children are precious and beautiful, because it's that beauty that keeps us from killing them. I'm joking, but there's no more selfish creature on the planet than a 2-year-old human child. Would we agree with that?
Yeah, I would.
And so going forward, if you don't parent that out of them, what you end up is 20-somethings and 30-somethings, 40-somethings, and you just had a podcast on narcissism. That is a big problem in our culture.
Oh, yeah.
Recently.
Yeah. It's a huge problem. And it's because we don't want to be held accountable. We don't want people telling us we can't do this and we can't do that. And selfishness is running rampant, which, by the way, the Bible predicted. Men will be lovers of their own selves.
True. I'm glad you brought that up because, these are end times. People say, why do you say that? Why would you think that, Jay, when you hear people say these are the end times? What would you think about that? What's your thoughts?
I think it's becoming pretty obvious when you look at the scriptural signs, and of course you start seeing those, and it compares it to birth pains, which will get more and more intense and stronger and closer together as we get towards the end.
Yep.
And that description that you're mentioning, Chris, as far as you guys are mentioning being lovers of yourselves and all those descriptions there, we're just seeing it more and more. That's there. And then, of course, if you look biblically with the technology, the one world government, the currency, all of it. I mean, it's really all lined up. Well, I think we saw during COVID how quickly everybody would fall in line to a directive.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
You can't go here. You can't do this. You have to wear this. You can't do it. And people, for the most part, some people didn't, but for the most part, people fell in line very quickly.
Yeah.
So if you factor in things like the church, I don't know, where everybody stands as far as, pre, mid, or whatever. But, you take the church out of there at some point too, and literally there's no sanity left.
Absolutely. Well, the Holy Spirit, because you take the church, you're taking the Holy Spirit out of the equation, right?
Yep.
And once he's gone,
with my thought is that whenever, not pre, not mid, whenever, I don't care. It's I'm just living life as it is. When Christ comes, he comes, so.
The joke the joke I tell, because I was raised pre-trib in my Baptist church background. And I tell people I've converted now after studying the Revelation and Daniel and all that. I've converted to pan-tribulationism, which is, I believe, is going to pan out however God wants it to, and I'm not going to fight over it.
I like that.
I'm not going to war over this.
Yeah.
But I had an assistant for many years, and she was more of a mid, and I was a pre.
Yeah.
And we would talk about it. And of course, as far as salvation and knowing Christ and everything, we were just spot on the same.
Of course.
Right. And so we used to joke about it, and I used to say, I bet you think I'm right, huh? I bet you wish you hope I'm right.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, yeah, I do. And I said, and I will tell you that if I'm not right, I'll be switching to your view.
Exactly.
Do you have any, I know you're an orator, as they say, you're a preacher. Do you have any other talents that are hidden that no one knows about?
Well, I grew up, I was going to be a musician. That's where I was going to go. In fact, it was probably, I was a brass player, baritone horn, trombone, trumpet.
Yay.
And I was going that way.
Yeah.
And it turned out that when God grabbed hold of my life and then decided to take me to a very small Bible school, which ended up is now called Masters University out in Santa Clarita, my high school band teacher was kind of like, wait, what? Because I've got it set up for you to have a music scholarship to Pepperdine.
Oh, wow.
And,
that's cool.
Like professional studio type musician. Mm-hmm. And God just, that's where I was headed. And God just took it away for a while. While I was fairly new in the faith, really wanted to get in the Word. God was calling me into pastoral ministry, which was strange. But then he gave it back. So I'm still like in our praise team and our music and everything. I'll do double duty, and I'll sing and play some keyboard and do all of that. So I love music, always have. And so that is kind of like my second language would be music.
Well, you're speaking our language too. We both play and sing on our praise team. So totally with you.
Well, Jay, it's been a pleasure, having you on with us. And I tell you, I hope that we get to continue our conversation.
Absolutely.
One day you come to Houston or we come to where you're at, and just enjoy the Lord.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, we'd love that.
That'd be fun.
Love to do this in person and sometime in the future. But
that'd be cool.
Tell us where we can find you online. Give us all your
few different places. So on social media, you can find me either on Instagram under Jay Gauthier Sr. or the Audacious Faith Podcast. You can find me on Facebook, the same names. Mm-hmm. Or you can email me at jgauthier@gmail.com.
Awesome.
Jay, it's been a pleasure for you to be with us. And thank you once again. We are really inspired by what you had to say. Yeah. We really are. And we thank you. And hopefully one day we'll meet in person.
I think that'd be great.
Yeah, it'd be fun anyway. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, Chris will buy the dinner.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
There you go. I volunteer Chris's money all the time. It's what I do.
Yeah.
It's because I'm older than him.
Y'all like McDonald's, right? McDonald's is good.
Oh yeah, McDonald's is
McDonald's works. Yeah. Although over there, I would think Whataburger, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Hey,
the man knows. The man knows. Whataburger.
Either at Buc-ee's. Go to Buc-ee's and get it.
Buc-ee's. Yeah.
I only got to go to one of those when I was over there, and I felt cheated.
Did you go to one of the big ones or the little?
No, it was one of the. Well, I thought it was big, but I was told it was one of the smaller ones.
No, they've got some that are bigger than the White House over here. So
that's true. That's true.
Wish they had those out here.
They're massive. So, but yeah, we definitely need to make this happen sometime in the future. Come see you, or you come see us. Do a live podcast with you guys.
I'll go your way because it's much better over there than over here.
You're right. We got Buc-ee's and we got Whataburger.
Exactly.
Correct. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. Remote location at Whataburger. That's done.
We'll talk to you later, Jay. Thank you.
All right. Take care, guys.
God bless you, Jay. Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
Well, again, we've had a lot to unpack, and we barely scratched the surface on any of this. And we did kind of just go off and just kind of give our thoughts on various subjects.
What we do.
It is what we
ramble.
We
ramble.
Yeah. But the point of all of this is just to kind of point out the fact that we, as followers of Christ, and I want to make sure this is clearly communicated.
Please.
We hold the Constitution in very high esteem, high regard. This is a very important document.
Very important.
But it is not more important than the Word of God.
That's right.
And the Word of God is absolutely clear on how we're supposed to conduct ourselves. And we're talking about sedition and rebellion.
That's right.
The Bible is very clear about how we're supposed to act with one another and treat one another. Especially as believers. So even though we disagree, even though we have people out there in the wide world that we disagree with, nowhere in the Bible does it teach us to go after them and treat them like the enemy or treat them like somebody needs to be destroyed. Because what the Bible says is we wrestle not with flesh and blood.
That's right.
But against spiritual power, spiritual principles. The enemy of our soul is not the Democrat Party or the Republican Party or professional politicians. The enemy of our souls is Satan.
Yes.
And we have to be clear on that because I don't want anybody leaving any show like this and going, I hate, whoever it is, I hate that.
Well, we don't. I mean, the thing is that when we see people that are siding with things that are not of God.
Yes.
We don't want to turn around and browbeat them. We want to say, this is what the Word of God says. And it's based in love. Believe it or not. It's based in love. Now, when we see people going out and canceling the Christians, and because of their faith, we have to stand firm.
Well, I agree.
We have to stand up and say, hey, look, we're Christian. This is what we believe in. We stand on our rights. But we can't do it with a hateful heart.
You can't treat people.
You cannot treat people
like
badly.
They are our mortal enemy that need to be destroyed.
But what we can do is that if you don't like the politic of the person that's representing you, don't vote for them again. That works.
That would be nice.
Uplift them in prayer, without a doubt. Always pray for them, but don't vote for them again.
Praying for them and supporting them, two different things.
Yeah, totally. Well, hey, we got to go. Anyway, it's a great being with you,
Yes,
and we'll talk to them again.
All right.
Okay. Bye, y'all.